What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm so excited to continue on the video series that I do every year now, where I talk about certain heritage months in the sphere of beauty. So today I want to do kind of my response video, if you will, to my video that it went up last week, and that was a video compilation of 20 brands that you guys recommended to me for Black History Month. And quite a few of those brands that you guys recommended I had already tried. I had favorite products, but there were also brands that I had not tried, and honestly some brands that I had never heard of. So I am without a doubt eternally grateful for you guys to have done the comments there, because I would have never been exposed to those brands. But in today's video, I wanted to kind of remind you guys about 5 brands that nobody commented about. And I feel like some of these brands, they kind of slide under the radar, or they've kind of been lost in the sauce. And I figured I'd remind you guys. So let's get into it. Alrighty guys, so with the beauty industry as it is, a lot of brands can be at their height one year and fallen down the next. And it's always so interesting to kind of tease out why this happens to certain brands and not to others. And I think to the crux of it is really, one, getting influencers to talk about your brand. I know a lot of people hate it, but in the world that we're living, that really does play a factor. But also keeping up with the trends. Even if you're not setting the trends, just keeping up with it to the point where people aren't exhausted with the trend by the time you get the product out, and you're not 2-3 years behind. And this is keeping in the mindset that a lot of times, from initial thought to it being produced and really distributed, it takes about a year for a lot of brands. So it does take some time. And so that's why sometimes it can really, a lot of these brands can fall behind. But like I said, I have 5 brands that I want to talk about. And I feel like the reason they weren't mentioned is because they truly did fall behind, unfortunately, for various reasons. So first I want to talk about Coloured Raine. Coloured Raine was at the height of the brand pretty much when Juvia's Place was at the height of the brand, where Juvia's Place had no drama at all. I'm talking about 2015, 2016. Right around that area, the Queen of Hearts palette from Coloured Raine was just, it was the unicorn, right? Everybody wanted it. People couldn't get their hands on it. And those who did were boasting about it, loving it, using it in every tutorial, because it was one of the most pigmented and blendable formulas of its time. That said, the brand really didn't continue to move forward. They had that one cool toned palette that I think a lot of people thought was okay, but then after that, they kind of just really fell off, and they really weren't keeping up with the release expectancy of, you know, beauty consumers, at least in our sphere, you know, not the people who go to Sephora one day and they're good for the year, but us, the people who are actively keeping in touch with makeup that's being released. Coloured Raine really didn't stay in people's minds because they weren't releasing enough. And it's really interesting to see that thin line of brands who release too much and they're constantly in your head, and then brands who don't release enough, and so you kind of just forget about them. And I want to say last year I picked up a palette from Coloured Raine. It was like a brown shaded palette. I can't think of the name. I'll have a picture on it here on the screen. And I really thought that this was going to be my palette. I was going to feel Coloured Raine coming back with a vengeance, and the name kind of hinted to my opinions about the palette. It tricked me. It was not what I expected. I expected these browns that were yellow based. It was going to be perfect for my like warm golden-esque undertone, but it wasn't. It was like straight up reds, straight up oranges, and it just wasn't what I was expecting. So I didn't really, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really love the palette. Not for the formula. The formula was great, but for the color scheme. And I think that's the biggest crux to Coloured Raine, unfortunately. After the Queen of Hearts palette, the brand has really just not come out with palettes that have really interesting color schemes, really interesting textures. And so people just, you know, they keep moving on with their life. So I just wanted to give a friendly reminder that Colored Rain is a Black-owned brand, and although maybe they aren't the quickest to pull the trigger on these latest trends and drop them, I will say I've never felt like their quality was ever lacking. A brand that I don't think a lot of people know about, and I will of course be featuring them in a little while. It shouldn't be, but maybe a couple of days, or even I might do that video before this one. Regardless, you guys will be seeing this brand featured on my channel this month, is Range Beauty. Now this brand is, I want to say, quite small. Like, I don't think a lot of people have heard about this brand. I myself didn't hear about this brand until last year, and that was from Chelsea. What is Chelsea's full YouTube name? I can't think of it, but I will have it flashing on the screen right now. So she did like some content, some short form content that I happened to follow last year, and she featured this brand. Now this is a Black-owned brand, like I said. They do have foundations, concealers, highlighters, powders, quite a variety of products. They really only have like one or maybe a variety of colors, but they pretty much have one product. It's a very curated collection of products from this brand, and their skincare, or their foundation specifically, really is targeting skin healthy ingredients. So they do talk about the fact that it's good for people who have eczema, who have any form of like skin irritation. So I really think that this is a very interesting brand, and a brand to really keep your eye out for. I don't believe they're at any distributor, and that might be another reason why they aren't really well known. But like I said, I'm going to take the time to showcase this brand on my channel this month, and I'm very excited to show you guys what I picked up, and hopefully I can give you guys a really good representation on the product so that if you choose to pick it up, you know, pick it up. Next is Skin Glass. Once again, this is another product that I got from Glam by Chelsea. It's something to that effect, but this is another brand that I saw on her channel last year in her short form content, and this was a brand that I really wanted to try. I don't know what it was about her content, because it was just short form and it was just showcasing it on her skin, but there was just something about the product that I wanted to try, and of course I did. I picked up one cream blush and one cream bronzer, and I'll hide the other things that I got. But I'm just really excited to showcase these products. Once again, this will be in the same video that I'll be showcasing the Range Beauty products, so just stay tuned. And yeah, this is a very, I think, unknown brand. I wouldn't necessarily say that because they're not really well known, it's because the brand isn't doing their job. I think it might just be because they may be new to the market. I didn't really look into when they were established, but that said, like I said, I'm going to take the time to put them on my platform to showcase them to you guys. I'm truly excited to show you guys what I picked up, and then subsequently, you know, hopefully it's very informative content for you guys. So just stay tuned. It's coming, I promise. And if it's already here, ignore all of this. The last two brands are actually brands that, very similar to Colored Rain, I think they just kind of lost their luster. They lost their edge. Now, some of these brands, actually both of these brands, I do believe are still in other distributors outside of their specific website, but they're just not talked about as much as they were in the past. And yeah, let's talk about it. So the fourth brand that I want to talk about is Beauty Bakery. Beauty Bakery really got their kind of claim to fame with really sticking with their brand. I mean, they truly stuck with their brand. Every product that they have released has some form of bakery packaging, bakery aesthetic, something to that effect. And I think because they stuck so hard to it, and they honestly kept nailing the application of that theme on beauty products, they were just really popular, along with the fact that they had one of the kind of most mattifying liquid lipsticks at the height of liquid lipsticks 2015, 2016. Now, were they drying? Of course they were. They were so drying and so mattifying that you had to get particular removers from the brand or you weren't going to get those puppies off. And even if you did, it was going to take some time to get them off. You know what I mean? But I find it interesting once again that this brand really lost its luster. Now, it was probably because their bread and butter, which were those liquid lipsticks, really got out of fashion. A lot of people started to get into more glossy lips, more moisturizing products. And I just never heard of the brand really releasing products that were aligned with those trends. I think had they done so, they could have at least stayed, I don't want to say relevant, but noticeable because of the fact that they were really known for their lip products. And had they stayed with the trend of lip products, people would have still actively gone over to the brand to try their products, to sample the products, see how this brand does or interprets lip oils, lip glosses, etc. And so yeah, they just never really did it. Plus the brand really never came out with an eyeshadow palette formula or color scheme, to my knowledge, that was really popular. Their blushes, oh my God, they had this pinky burgundy blush quad I loved. It was like a blush lighter quad, if you will. Certain skin tones could get away with it as a highlighter. Certain skin tones could get away with it as a blush topper. I got away with 2 different tones as a blush and then one as a blush topper. Or a highlighter, actually. Absolutely love that formula. I would highly recommend that formula. The only thing that I kind of hate about that formula is the pans are so big. I wish they came out with a smaller size. Honestly, I'd pick it up again because I really liked it. I just depotted it stupidly, trying to think that I would use it more, and I didn't. I use my products more in their current packaging, which is why I no longer depot things. But I've gone on a tangent. I think it would be very interesting to see if this brand could really pick themselves up. And that's really my thought process for the 3 brands that I feel like kind of really fell off for them. Yes, they still have their core audience. That is unnegotiable, right? A lot of these brands, if they did not have their core audience, they would no longer be in business. But I definitely think that because they did not continue to move with the trends, really continue to release at the level that, you know, creators have the attention span, and honestly viewers' attention span are, which is very quick, they have just not stayed relevant. They haven't stayed on their tongues, hearing, etc. And so yeah, I'd be really interested to see if Beauty Bakery or Coloured Raine could really pull themselves up from, you know, where they are now to where they used to be, or even somewhere near. I'd really love to see it, and I would love to hear your opinions on what product could really turn their fortunes around, you know? The last brand that I want to talk about is I know is still actively in a distributor, but I still, once again, I don't hear them being talked about. I don't see people showcasing their products. And really, I'm thinking of one particular product that people were actively showcasing it, and it was their contour palette. And this was a trio product where they had a contour color, a bronzer color, and a highlighter color, if my memory serves me correctly. And this is Black Radiance. Black Radiance, they had a moment. I really feel like they had a moment. And you know, if you Google Black-owned beauty brands or Black-owned makeup brands, I'm sure some articles, even to this day, will still showcase these brands. So I'm not saying that these brands are completely irrelevant. That is not the case at all. But I'm saying that, you know, the 3 brands that I mentioned that I think more people have heard about, they really fell off because, like I said, they really weren't showcasing and continuing to keep up with the trends as much as other brands. And like, none of these brands do you see a multi-chrome from. I don't see a multi-chrome at any of these brands' websites. I don't see a lip oil at any of these brands' websites. I don't see some of these products that are very, very popular now there. I don't even think any of them have a cream blush. No, Coloured Raine has a cream blush. I have it. It's actually a halfway decent formula. It's not a bad formula at all. But I don't see any of these products really that are catnip right now. I don't see any lip balms from them. I don't see any of these products that a lot of people are really actively looking for. And lip balms and lip oils, these have been a trend and very popular for the last, what, 2 years minimum? Definitely since COVID, because people stopped wearing a lot of base makeup, let alone a lot of lip products. They would wear things that are easy to reapply. So it's just very interesting that at this point, you've had years to really kind of come up with the thought for your brand. Give us your perspective on this trend, on this concept. And I haven't seen these brands do it. And then for the other two brands, I'm just interested. I really want to know, did you hear about these brands? Am I introducing you to these brands for the first time? And if you have you heard about them from, advertisements? Have other creators outside of Glam by Chelsea talked about the brands? I would just love to hear, because these are brands that I had never heard of. And I don't want to say I pride myself on, but I feel like I do a pretty good job at like hearing about a lot of brands. I keep up with makeup content a lot, and I do have a very busy life, so I can't keep up with everything, but I would just find it interesting to hear your thoughts on these 5 brands. For the 3 that were popular at a point, are you still actively using products from them? Do you still actively recommend them and see people talking about them? And for the other 2, like I said, have you heard of them? Am I the first person? I would love to know down below. But with that said, that's all I got. I just wanted to give you guys 5 brands. I'm sure I talked on for another 30 minutes. I apologize. I wanted this to be short, but it's me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, I would love it if you give this a huge thumbs up. If you didn't, no problem at all. Go ahead and hit that thumbs down below. That thumbs down button, it helps me know if you like it or you don't like the content. Also, if you're not already subscribed, I would love if you go ahead and subscribe. I do this type of content for each month that the United States has a Heritage Month, and I would love for you to continue on this journey for the 2nd year in a row. And then lastly, but certainly not least, if you have not already joined my membership and you would like to, I would love for you to go ahead and join. It is only 99 cents per month, and I give you a new tutorial every month. This month, it is going to be featuring this eye tutorial that you see on my face. By the time this video goes up, Valentine's Day will have already passed, but you may still want to go ahead and do a Valentine's Day eyeshadow look, or maybe wearing purples and pinks is your everyday and this is a normal for you. So if it is and you want to kind of do this type of technique, I will have that video linked down below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video like I've already said, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.